always fascinated with technique, tools, materials. If the plumber came, I wanted to be there watching how he did what he did. And somehow in college I ended up making antique reproductions of antique wood carvings, and coming to New York with a wife and 2 children, and ended up with a shop on 6th Avenue called Gargoyles, which where I was making copies of wood and stone carvings, and started making things that were more of my invention. And I started working with glass and curved mirrors, and then I started wanting to bend the glass to make curved mirrors that had reflections that I thought I was interested in, hoped I would be interested in. And I started working with glass a lot. And these are industrial glasses that were used. You've probably seen things like this between office partitions or shower doors or stuff like that. Somehow I found out that 4 inches behind these fluted lenses is the focal length. So if I have a pattern behind there, as you walk in front of it, it scans that pattern, magnifying it. And I started working with this and did a lot of work like this in the 80s. And then those patterns, I started silk screening them on glass, and then cutting out the glass to make crystalline kind of structures that had a different kind of movement. You know, in the back, there's a light sculpture where I just discovered something, that if I had a little piece of mirror on the wall, and there was 2 hat pins stuck in the wall, I had a little strip of glass, a mirror, I put it on there, and I said, oh, here's a reflection, here's a shadow, voila. And it became the beginning of a whole 5 years of work. I was having hand problems for 10 years, and I just had an operation, and hopefully things will be better. And I started working with lighter materials, so I started working with paper. And yeah, come on this way. I do a lot of body work, I do a lot of dancing, and what ended up happening is, in this work here from the teens, it was an experiment of what I could do with my body moving to make movement, to make pattern. And I'm an inventor. I keep on having new ideas of things to do, and it can start with something really little, and if I give it 5 years, some interesting stuff happens. Structure, pattern. Any questions?
You said those are paper pieces?
These are paintings on paper. They've been bonded to sheet aluminum, or they're die bond, something that's been curved to give it the dimensionality.
And
but
that's the most current work?
No, this is from 13.
I see.
I have more current.
So is it heading in a different direction?
I'm using something similar to this, where I'm making design on paper, but my patterns are bigger. These were done without me moving physically around as much. The ones I'm doing now have a bigger dimension to them, and so the patterns are larger. And some of the pieces are, fill up a wall, or sometimes they go to the corner and then they turn the corner. I love corners. They're very underutilized art pieces.
And could you talk about this piece?
I mentioned that I had put a piece of mirror, a strip of mirror on 2 hat pins, and there was the reflection that was brighter and the shadow that was darker, because the light reflected on the wall and then it stopped, the mirror stopped the light from going underneath. That's what this did. What I was able to start to develop was a way to take mirror and clear away some of the mirror so there's a pattern that's mirror and clear. So and I got to the point where I was having a factory make mirror for me where they put silver and then copper and no paint, you know, that gray baked paint to protect it. So, and then with some kind of a resist on there, like a vinyl resist. Wherever there wasn't the vinyl resist with some acid, hydrochloric acid, I could wipe away the silver and the copper. So it was clear. So all these lines have been wiped away from that piece of glass, and then I ended up developing a way to bond two pieces of glass with a light-sensitive adhesive, and so the mirror is encapsulated in the middle, and I started doing layers and stuff, you know, and playing with the lights, and it was, you know, and it was exciting. It was an exciting discovery, and you know, when I'm working, I'd like to see where it's going to go. What can I do with it? Yes.
It's a really beautiful piece of phenomenon. And I'm wondering, I'm probably just, what's the overhead structure? How is that affecting it?
Well, the lights that shine out here.
Oh, they're hidden.
Inside.
They're hidden behind those baffles.
Basically, all I'm doing is hiding.
I see. Okay.
But it needed to be relevant, so it's got some of the same pattern.
And therefore controllable, so it can go into any space.
That's right, because not all ceilings are the same height, right? And so that's attached to the back wall, which makes it controllable.
And does it dramatically change if it's lowered?
Yes, everything changes when you change the lights.
Yeah.
There is an interesting video that some Swiss watch company made about this work, and do you remember the name of that video?
I forgot, but when you turn off the light, it disappears.
Right. So if I stop the light here, not only the light doesn't come through here, but the light is still being reflected off of here.
And are there many pieces in the series?
This is 5 years of work that I did, you know, so there's
So different patterns and structures.
different patterns, different. I was very fortunate. A dear friend of mine who was a sign maker and was able to cut vinyl with his computer-generated blah blah blah. And I'd go visit him, and I'd say, Jerry, listen, you know, I'm looking for a pattern like this. He said, well, I've got these books with all these things that there. See if you can find anything, and we can stretch it or do all this stuff with it. And it was like a godsend, because all these things got developed. And then I learned more and more what I could do by myself. But I would drive 10 minutes, and I'd come back with 5 new patterns, you know, so it was great.
It was Rado, that was the
Oh,
watch
Rado,
company,
the Swiss
Rado.
watch company, thank you. There's a
Cool video.
nice video online. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.